This episode is a special edition of the 614 Startups podcast. Elio Harmon, founder of 614 Startups, is in conversation with Dan Snyder, CEO of Lower, as he announces the launch of Mortgage Pass. The episode was recorded in front of a live audience at lower.com field.
My name is Elio Harmon. I'm the host of the 614 Startups podcast, Columbus's #1 business podcast. And it's my pleasure to be in conversation with Dan Snyder, CEO of Lower, as he announces the launch of Mortgage Pass. Mortgage Pass is a cash offer product that helps customers get their dream home while continuing to work with you, their preferred real estate professional. So how many real estate agents do we have in the building? Raise your hands, please. Okay, quite a few of you. So everybody in the room, please welcome Dan. Give him a round of applause. So Dan, thank you so much for having me. This is a privilege, this is an honor. I appreciate being in conversation with you. We're joined, this is a live podcast, so this is being recorded, by the way. And we're joined by a live audience, which is very unusual for me doing a podcast, but it's great. And in this room are some of Central Ohio's top real estate agents. Now, these are heady times in the real estate industry, and I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. How many people have closings today? Yeah, we got some closings, so we know you got to get to that. That's good news, right? We got some commission checks coming. But thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here. And for that, I want you guys to give yourselves a round of applause. All right, now Dan and I will chat for approximately 15 minutes, and then we'll come to you for Q&A. So please get your questions ready. We're going to come to you in about 15 minutes. You ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, great. So you and I sat down, a couple months ago. We had an extended conversation, and I know you. But I don't want to take for granted that everyone in this room knows who you are. So who's Dan Snyder, and why did you start Lower?
Well, I don't think anybody really heard of us until we named the stadium lower.com field. So look, fundamentally, we're a home lender. We operate in 91% of the population of the country, but we call Central Ohio and Columbus our home. We have an atypical path for a fintech. And let me unpack kind of what that even means. But at the core, we're a multi-channel lender and servicer that from the roots has specialized in home purchase. I mean, it wasn't until the last couple of crazy years that our pipelines got completely filled with a lot of customers that were refinancing, which is great. But my co-founders and I started Lower in 2014 under the name at the time Homeside. And it was really meant to be the best-in-class platform that a loan advisor or a realtor or a builder would want to work with and trust their customers too. No problem. We're just live.
It's showbiz. We'll keep it rolling.
That's right. And so I see a lot of familiar faces that were with us from the very, very beginning, realtors and team members, and we. As a company, we've just continued to kind of push forward. From 2014 to 2018, we became like a top 50 lender in the country, and really Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, seller servicer, which allowed us to do loans quickly, efficiently, and at a low cost. But then layering on the technology and making it efficient for our team members to work within, our realtors to get transparent communication, and as we sit today, we raised a $100 million funding round for the first time ever last year, grid timing. And, we're really poised to continue to ratchet up growth. The one thing that, and I'm really excited to be here today with Elio, and I really appreciate you coming, is like, what does the future look like? I grew up in this industry, so to speak. When I was like 9 or 10, my mom was a realtor. She was a buyer's agent it's now a Keller Williams up in Northeast Ohio. And I remember her taking customers, they would be in one car, we'd follow behind, my brothers and I, and then we would just ideally play in the playground while she showed the home, or we'd sit in the car, and there's no iPads back then, so you just kind of sit there and stare at each other, and then we'd go to the next home. and then the next home, and the next home. And it was just it's a ton of work. And ultimately she went on to be a partner in a title company, and I started doing loan closings when I was probably 16 or 18, as like a part-time job. And that's how I ultimately kind of cut my teeth in this industry. And when we think about the future, it's like, well, how can we create a best-in-class partnership between the real estate community in Central Ohio and broader, and with lower? We operate a direct-to-consumer channel where customers can download our app, go online, and transact that way if they want. We have a retail footprint where Homeside is our largest brand here today, and we have 38 other brands across the country who are partnered with realtors, partnered with builders, and they experience the same technology and efficiencies, but it's a more localized approach. And then on the third prong, we are a full servicer. So 95% of the loans we service in-house. We don't subservice, which allows us to really approach it from the beginning as a customer for life, which I don't think anybody in this room can argue. That's like the key to salvation, is to really wow your customer and then get repeat business. And so that's how we think about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And, I was thinking about what's the most baller thing I can do when I build my company. And it's like driving down 670 East, because I take that all the time, and just have my company name on the side of a stadium. So congratulations to you, man. That's a super baller move.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. And how many people from Lower in the building? How many Lower employees in here? All right. And that's kudos to you guys, because you're all part of the process of building such a great company. And it's awesome to have such an impactful company in the mortgage industry be based right here in Columbus, Ohio. So great work, man. All right. So today we're going to talk about Mortgage Pass. All right. So what is Mortgage Pass, and why is Lower launching this product right now?
Well, so we take it back to concept. I mean, we'll talk about this, like one of the features, which is a cashback offer, which is pretty, it was incredibly prevalent. I think as the market cools down, rates rise, it becomes a little bit less. There'll be a little bit less competition on every single home. However, what we wanted to do, credit to our marketing team, brand and product teams, was just design what we would consider this like pass, that if a customer qualified, they got the one thing that we feel like all sides of the transaction wanted, which was certainty. So they would get, whether it was a cashback offer, they would get priority closing, they would get priority servicing, they would get priority pricing and rates. And no different than a status tier of some kind. That's kind of how we approached it. And what ended up happening was Mortgage Pass, where the customer that is trying to find and buy a home, even with rates rising, it's a third of homes right now are still selling in cash only. That cash is coming from whether it's a bridge loan or it's a margin loan from their portfolio, or they're a high net worth individual. It's pushing out folks that don't have the ability to do that. It's complicating the approach, and it's, for the lack of a better way, it stresses people out. There are lots of these things popping up. There's cash-backed offers that are not really cash, it's almost cash, which that doesn't cure any sort of certainty to the seller. There's some programs that are bridge loans, but it's their actual company. And I won't name the companies here, but they have to charge a high fee to the customer to do it. Or you have to use their real estate company. And our whole goal was we're really good at the credit side of things. We're good at the collateral side of things. Can we just, we should start with Central Ohio. And can we analyze both and then back this offer in cash, provide certainty, and then make it a win for the realtor? If you've got a lender you use today, great. But if you have a buyer that's having a hard time getting a home, instead of creating another step in between and going to a bank to get a bridge loan or going to an investment account to get a bridge loan, just send them to us. And that was our whole concept. Get Mortgage Pass, and we will reduce and lower the stress of the transaction. We'll back the offer. The customer bails, we'll buy the house. And that's just how we formulated it.
Okay. So a quick poll of the realtors in here. How many people have had a customer that's lost out on their dream home because somebody either outbid them or had cash? Anybody have that? Okay, all hands should go up. All right, now, how many of you then have immediately in the wake of that turned and started searching or researching cashback options? How many of you have done the legwork about cashback? Okay, so all of you are in the right place because you've lost out to cash, but now there's an option for you that could help create more competition when you're helping someone. So you're in the right place today. All right, so opportunity, right? That's maybe what you guys saw in the market. There's an opportunity to do that here in Central Ohio and start here. We are Test City, USA, after all.
It's true.
So why not launch in Columbus, Ohio? All right, so who is the ideal customer? From the realtor's perspective, as they're looking through their book of business, who's the ideal customer for this? And how does Mortgage Pass help them?
Well, before we get to the customer, I feel like the group here is our customer, like the realtor, the teams that are, at the ground floor helping buyers, just like my mom did once upon a time, trying to win the home. And from that perspective, a couple things come to mind. Number one, you don't want to overpromise to your buyer. Like, that's not your job. Your job is not to secure the financing. That's their job. That said, we become a really, really easy outlet because not only can we handle the financing, we have 5-star reviews across any channel you look at, but now with the Mortgage Pass, if they choose to elect into it, we become the game changer for the real estate community and the home financing community. Independent of whether you're at Remax or Keller Williams, it doesn't matter. You're going to get full commission. We're trying to make our money on doing our core product and then ultimately servicing the customer in a great way, which is a differentiator. So from that standpoint, if you are a buyer agent or you are a team that is recruiting in and getting buyers, agents acclimated to the real estate world, and to give them an extra edge, we become a really good outlet for that. The customer, what we try to look at is, the credit profile, which I don't know very many customers right now that have low credit buying homes, period. We initially had set out with a 720 FICO minimum, but we already within a week brought that back to a 700, just because that we felt like was the sweet spot. So a 700 credit score, 5% down. So it's not like you have to have a conventional, even though that's our test, conventional loans. Eventually, and very soon, FHA, VA, like those are the customers that should be able to use those types of programs and get a cashback offer and actually win the home, instead of the seller determining who they'll allow to buy their house. The seller just wants to sell the home. I've sold a couple houses, and it's a terrifying thing. Your realtor, like Ryan here, he sold my house multiple times. He's like, no, this isn't going to sell quickly. And my wife and I are sitting there like, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't sell fast? Like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to move? There's a lot of uncertainty there. And then when you start looking at the buyers that are offering, you start going, okay, are they credit worthy? Like, what if they back out? What if they don't qualify? And that is what ultimately we wanted to solve for, was certainty. Like, if you have a Mortgage Pass, like someone's buying, and that's the agreed upon price, someone's buying that house, the customer or lower. And then, our aim is just to, mitigate risk as best as possible so we don't become a big landowner, homeowner. That's not our goal either. Yeah. But if it does, we know a lot of good realtors that can help us sell them.
Not trying to become BlackRock, right? You don't want to own all the homes okay, all right. So this is about really, the ultimate goal is about facilitating that transaction for you and for your customer. And a lot of times, and we were talking about this before we sat down, the primary advantage that people have in this market has always been cash, who could just outbid the other person. But it feels to me like this cash offer now empowers more people to be able to do that, right? That's really what it sounds like. So I hope you got your questions going. I have one more question for Dan, and then we're going to come to you guys, okay? So let's say somebody does meet that criteria. 700 credit score, 5% down. One of these realtors identifies them today. They could leave here and go talk to them today, right? What is then the process that either the realtor needs to start or the customer needs to start in order to qualify for this?
Yeah, so if you don't already know a representative of Lower or Homeside here, then you could meet one now, or you go to, I think it's getmortgagepass.com, and you can just text your customer and say, hey, this might be a good option for you, to kind of alleviate you from any sort of over-promising. And then within a matter of, I don't know, like a reasonable amount of time, same day, we'll be able to tell them if they qualify or not. And then essentially, if it's, let's say they qualify for $400,000, then they can go out as if it's cash and just go buy the home and make a confident offer, and then, on to the next.
Okay, great. Well, let's give Dan a hand. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, dance floor is open. We need our first dancer. So who has a question for Dan? Okay, in the back with the hand raised there. Oh, sorry. Kaylin is going to be our mic runner since we are recording this. We need to get you a mic.
Do both the buyer and the home need to be pre-qualified, or is it just the buyer that you're pre-qualifying?
Oh gosh, this is going to be so technical. So we're going to qualify the buyer, and then right after Chelsea, what do you think?
So we'll pre-approve the buyer. So we'll go through, do you want me to talk into this? Yeah. Awkward. Hi, I'm Chelsea. Nice to meet you all. So we'll pre-approve the buyer. We'll go through the initial underwrite, and then there is a collateral piece of it. So we'll have the inspection done through Linkhorn here locally, and then we have a team within Lower that will review that inspection. And the normal stuff, right? If it's small stuff, fine. If it's really like foundational or anything glaring with the property, that's probably a collateral that we won't back with Mortgage Pass. But we'll be in close communication with you guys throughout that whole process.
But no appraisal contingencies.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Do we have another? Saw something on that side. All right, gentleman in the yellow shirt.
Steve Smith with Keller Williams. We just wrote an offer with you guys on the Mortgage Pass, so for first offer with it. So,
All right.
the guy over there in the green shirt actually did it. He's on my team. So John Leppert. My question is, in contract writing, should we put in cash as our offer, or is it still financed? What would be your suggestion to that?
Still finance, so we'll just remove the appraisal and financing contingencies. Keep the inspection.
But that's a good question, though. So, to put the best foot forward to the seller, we should probably figure out a way of designating it as stronger than financing.
Yeah, so we provide, when a property has been identified and we have our automated evaluation method, we will issue you both a Mortgage Pass pre-approval that talks about what does cashback mean and basically how those things are going to work. And we also provide a real estate addendum that just basically strikes through the financing contingency, but you still use the standard Columbus contract.
Yeah, our Elio has mentioned, we've got our name on a stadium. We didn't do it to be not number one in market share in Columbus for home purchases. So we're going to do everything we can to open up the program and make smart, sensible decisions that are within the legal aspect of things and help everyone convert more buyers to homeowners. Our entire mission from day one has been to help customers build wealth through home ownership. That's still true today. And if we can help first-time home buyers, or no different than my parents who, and keep in mind, my mom was a realtor for 30 years, real estate attorney, and they were, empty nesters. They moved from Cleveland down to Columbus, and it's as if they were first-time home buyers. Potentially worse, actually, than first-time home buyers. They're, late 60s first-time home buyers. So it's the more certainty, the better. The more conversion, the better, to help us get to number one. I think we're number 9 right now. We'll see next year.
All right. If the crew can do it, Lower can do it, right?
That's right.
That's right. All right, so gentleman in the yellow shirt, we need to get that man a bottle of champagne, okay? He just closed a cash offer using Mortgage Pass. Get that man a bottle of champagne. All right, I think we have time for at least one more question.
Are you doing any of the HECM type loans with 50% down and you never make another payment for retirees 62 and over?
Yeah, like the reverse mortgages.
Yes, thank you.
Today we're not, but it's in the roadmap. Those are complicated transactions, but very prevalent and very popular right now.
All right, we got a whisperer here. Grab the microphone.
Okay, maybe I missed it, but how quick can you turn this from contract? Part of the reason for cash is not only is it remove contingencies, but how quick can you turn this? Is it 14 days?
No, faster. I don't know. How fast can we turn this thing?
Dan says 14 days. 14 days.
Less than 14 days.
So we do ask for a 30-day contract, but it goes through our typical processing and underwriting process within Lower and Homeside. So we try to fly them through as quickly as possible, but we are asking for 30-day contracts.
30-day contract, closed in 14.
Yeah. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to have a lot of questions on that one.
Okay, and there are going to be folks after this to answer your questions. So, Chelsea, raise your hand. Everybody bum rush Chelsea. And then she will introduce you to one of the loan originators that are here so they can spend a little bit of time with you answering any questions that you have. All right, guys, that's our time. I'm going to turn it over to Kaylin so she can direct us for what's next. But thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it.
That's a wrap, folks. You can find this and all our episodes on our website, 614startups.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. Don't forget to subscribe and write a review. If you'd like updates sent directly to your inbox, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter on the website. To engage in the 614 Startups community, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 614 Startups on all platforms and join the conversation. For sponsorship opportunities and collaborations, email us at info@614startups.com.